Hi, and welcome to 30 Second Success Connect, where we introduce entrepreneurs and professionals who love to connect and lead with their hearts. I'm Laura Templeton, founder and CEO of 30 Second Success, and with me today is the wonderful master of websites, Lydia Grossov. Lydia, thank you so much for being here with me. Lydia is a branding innovator with 20 plus years of experience and a passion for creating bold and impactful design that position her clients as leaders in their fields. She has been in the design, web, and digital strategy trenches since 1995, working with corporations, retail packaging, pharmaceuticals, and healthcare organizations, magazines, direct mail agencies, small businesses, and entrepreneurs alike. Today, she consults on brand website and digital strategy, leads all design projects, and specializes in print and digital design. She also leads training sessions and speaks at both virtual and live events. Lydia, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
I love, when we spend time together, especially when we're in that creating mode. For those of you who don't know and haven't realized this yet, Lydia is my website designer, and I love sharing her with everybody. So that's why she's here.
Thank you.
So it's fun, when I get an opportunity to share about how we've met and how we've connected. So why don't you go ahead and share how you and I first met?
We first met networking. Big surprise, huh? We met, was it 4 years ago at the Women's Business Forum? Yeah, the Business Forum unfortunately does not exist anymore. That's a really, really sad thing. I had been going to the Women's Business Forum for a little over 10 years. I had taken a break. I had a full-time job in corporate. I couldn't go to all the meetings. I went for a little while, years and years and years ago. Then when I took my business full-time, I started going to the Women's Business Forum again, and that's where we met.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember the first time you and I actually were introduced by James Lucas.
Yes.
We used to refer to him as the only smart man in the room because he joined a women's organization. Because that's where all of his clients were. Let's face it, the work that he was doing at the time was really, clothing, and it was a perfect fit for the women in that group. And James is just such an amazing connector. I think he is just a wonderful person all around. But he introduced us, and I remember when he did, he said, that you were a website designer, graphic designer, but somebody that he really admired, and he thought that we should meet.
Oh, that's great.
You need to meet Lydia.
Yeah, James and I go far back. We've been friends for, oh my gosh, I can't even remember, over 10 years. Yeah. So yeah, it's a great connection. I love these connections that have all this synergy and work and people who just mesh together, and then they realize who else in their circle will mesh, and then make these introductions.
Yeah, and I think that was really fun because I think that kind of, even that introduction led to us all being in a mastermind group together.
Yes.
We had created with Kathy Marcino and a bunch of other really amazing folks, and that was a huge blessing for my business. My business really took off from that, and I think that's where I finally made the decision, because I kept complaining so much about my previous website.
Yes.
The do-it-yourself website.
Yeah.
Just like doing it for me anymore.
Everybody has to start somewhere, so it's okay.
And the do-it-yourself website was great in the beginning, but then there was too many limitations, and I really needed somebody's expertise, and I had gotten to know you and really understood what it was that you do for your clients, and then just really it's like you knew me. You were able to take all the things that I could see but couldn't explain.
That's my job, is to really dig in there, find out who you are, what it is that you want, what you need, what are your business needs, and get in there and just build all of that in a website that you're going to love, and that's going to translate and transmit your personality and who you are as a business person and a business.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, from us having spent so much time together and connecting, you really, um, there was just such a trust level. It's like I didn't want anybody else to do it. It was like, okay, I need Lydia, so
Right,
let's
right.
make this happen. And
Yeah.
but I also saw the value in the fact that you're a connector and you love to network and you understood my audience.
Yes. Oh,
So
absolutely.
that was a huge
Absolutely.
benefit. That was a big
Yeah.
benefit for me.
Yeah. It is, you know, again, going into networking, it it is that know, like, and trust factor that's going to bring, you know, people together and connect business wise, right? It's
Mm,
not being salesy and hokey and pushy. It really is just letting relationships develop and let them go where they may. And sometimes it leads to business and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just leads to great relationships and other connections that may or may not lead to business. But that's just how it goes. It's networking is about being authentic and trying to be helpful when you connect with people, right? Not being pushy about your services. I've found that one, that's not my personality, being pushy. Ooh, sorry, I just shook everything up here. Earthquake. Uh, that's not my personality. I'm not a I'm a designer. I'm not a salesperson, even though I'm a business owner. So I really am a salesperson as well, but I don't have that sales training. And I just, you know, when you're first starting off, you don't feel comfortable with that, you know, making sales. So it was really, to me, I am a good connector. I have a lot of friends and local connections. And so I just did what I knew how to do, was just connect with people and let things happen.
yeah. So you're a business too. You talked about having been in corporate in that pharmaceutical industry for a long time in that 10-year period. What really what's the catalyst for you to step out and go on your own and really start helping entrepreneurs um, gaining that yeah, just doing the website design and the graphic design that you're doing.
Yeah. So I worked in a small pharma company as a creative director for 12 years. And I started my business while I was in that full-time position. Uh, just like any other design, every designer does freelance work on the side. You're always doing some project or other. We like the challenge of it. We like the diversity of new projects, especially if you're working in corporate. I loved working in corporate and knowing the products and the company that I worked for in depth. But you know, it also kind of constrains you as a creative to some extent. So having those additional projects and having to learn about new products, new businesses, help other professionals was really exciting and kept things really interesting and creative, right? It keeps you on your toes and keeps you thinking outside the box. And it also helps you bring different experiences to the table on both sides, for your full-time job and for that side business that I had. So what propelled me to go full-time with my business? Unfortunately, it was not of my own choice. But fortunately, I did decide to take my business full-time. So I was laid off from my full-time job. The company had been bought out and things weren't really going well for the business, and they ended up selling 6 months after I was laid off. They ended up selling to another business. So that was just something that was already in motion. I was laid off. And since I already had my business, I decided, why not take this full time? And I think it was one of the best decisions I made, even though it was really hard in the beginning, right? Because having a side business is very different than having a business that's full time and you really have to invest and develop it and wear many, many hats. So that was a challenge because, you know, as a creative, I don't like doing the accounting. I don't like doing the bookkeeping, but you have to do all of that at
Right.
some point, or at least in the beginning, you have to do all those things yourself. So, you know, the first 2 years, were a little iffy, like, oh, do I really want to keep doing this? But I'm glad that I did. It's just been an amazing journey. I've grown so much as a professional and a business owner, and I've made some amazing connections, which is what this is about, right? Is making connections.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember when we were in our mastermind group, I remember you even questioning, saying, "Oh, I don't, I got to make this thing work. How am I going to make it work?" And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they're first starting out, really go through that. I think there's that, like,
Oh, absolutely.
you're in love, you're excited, you're like, then the hard work comes, and it's like, oh, and am I really cut out for this? You start asking those questions. But I also see the benefit, and correct me if I'm wrong, of having a good support system within your network that really helps you get over that hump. Because I went through
Absolutely.
it, and if it weren't for me being able to reach out to my network, I probably would have struggled, and I might have even quit.
Right,
There
right.
were certain times where I was like, why am I doing
Right,
this?
right. And yeah, and you're right. Every small business owner goes through that, right? Whenever you hit that, those, the peaks, you have the peaks and the valleys. Whenever you hit the valleys, you really question yourself, like, why am I doing this to myself?
Yeah.
But definitely having that support network, having connections that, will lead to more connections, all of that is essential for keeping that inspiration, that motivation to just keep on going.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it is having also defining who your target audience is will actually help you make better connections and the right connections and lead to the right connections further down the road. So that's one thing that I found, and that has really helped me to grow and keep my business stable was I already knew who my target audience was from the beginning. So I focus, and my core client base is pharma and healthcare clients. And keeping my messaging clear on that when connecting with other people has really helped me make new connections, because everybody ends up knowing somebody who works in the industry, or knows somebody who works in that industry and needs help with a particular project. And that's really how I've kept my business going. 99% of my business is referral based and based on the connections that I have.
You know what? And that reminds me that you have a really great personal story that I think is so amazing to me, about how you became the moderator for that pharma, the conference.
Yes, yeah. So and then that was the other thing. So leading into where do I network and how do I find connections for my business, being that I work with healthcare and pharma. So I was having a really hard time with the smaller local networking groups. They were great. I made some amazing connections, met some wonderful people, but nobody was really in that realm of my client base, my core client base. So I had to really think hard and think of what I was going to do and how I was going to get in front of my clients. Because when I worked in corporate, I didn't go out networking. I had a full-time corporate job. I didn't have time to go to networking events, and I'd work late, most of the time. And I just wanted to go home and have dinner and chill out for the rest of the night, or do some extra side work if I had side work to do. But so I just had to really think back and say, so where are my people, right? Where are my target? Where's my target audience? Where are my future clients meeting? And really, it was conferences. So that's how I went to a pharma conference, and I offered to help out with the conference. And I started moderating panels and roundtables. And that's, right there, I'm in front of my core client base.
And that opened up a lot of doors for you, from what I remember.
It did. So it opened a few, not, I won't say a whole lot, but for me as a small business owner, getting 2 or 3 new clients in that arena is huge for me.
Right. Right. It's a win. Yeah. And
Yep.
that's, just speaks volumes to the fact that you were aware of what your network had to offer. And and again, and I talk about this in my book is, yes, there's some people that we absolutely love spending, but at the end of the day, if those people are not connected to potential people that they can refer us to, sometimes we need to look elsewhere. It doesn't mean we have to give up that network. It just means that we need to connect elsewhere. And you did that. You figured out a way to find the connections. But one of the things that I'm curious, do you, after getting laid off from pharma, did you stay in touch with the folks from that company, and are you still able to just keep in touch with them and stay connected, and has that led to any other business?
Yeah, actually I did. So I wasn't the only one laid off. I had coworkers with whom I worked with, again, for 12 years. We started off as a small team of 8. The company was a startup when I first started working for them. And we were really tight-knit group because each person had a task. I was the designer, nobody else to do my job, right? Operations was operations, marketing was marketing. And so we worked together on every single project in the company for 12 years. Even though the company went through some mergers and this acquisition and we grew, we were still that core team that was working together all along. And so when we were all laid off and we went our separate ways, we all kind of stuck with pharma, and we really worked so well together, and we had such trust in each other that yes, we do stay connected. And some are still my clients, some went to other companies, and I've done some business for those companies as well. So it really is that other that saying that you don't burn bridges when you leave a company. Even though I was laid off and there, may have not been, a lot of warm and fuzzies in that situation.
Right.
I didn't go out in a blaze of glory and burn the whole bridge down. Because I really enjoyed working with those people. I worked with them for so long. And we did stay connected, and we would call each other on a monthly basis and catch up and see what was going on and see if we could help out each other, if there was anything that any of us could do in terms of brainstorming or even making new connections for each other. And now it's kind of thinned out a little bit, dwindled. It's been many years since that happened. But I actually do still stay connected with a few of them. Few of them are still my clients.
That's wonderful. And there's so much to be said. I love for people to understand we have the network that's outside the office, but we also have the network that's inside the office. And that's just as important, if not more so, to stay connected, because just like in your situation, that, things change. Things change, and you just never know where those connections are going to lead you. And, even just be able to call them and get some really sage advice, because they know your work, they know your body of work, and
Right.
they might, have a different perspective. So staying connected is a great way. And I love to tell people, think about, in the professional world, a lot of challenge right now in the corporate environment is, there are isolations of groups. Groups, they all want to have their own little fiefdoms, and they're not talking externally and working problems out as much as they used to. So, and not in all corporate, but it is a challenge, especially as companies grow bigger, and become more heavy in management. And that's a challenge. So, it is really important to connect with other people and stay connected, even after you've moved away to another company or another business. So
absolutely.
yeah,
And
really cool.
and I have to add too that I just remembered. So the company that bought out the company that I was working for, they are my clients still. So it's a whole different team. None of the people that I used to work with at the company before, but they're still my clients because even though there were some hard feelings, you know, I managed to keep it professional and stay connected with them and be able to help them out. So it really is about working together.
Right. And being professional.
Yeah.
That's the key. Being professional, staying connected. That's the key.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. It's business. It's, you know, it's not personal. It may seem personal at certain times, but it's not personal. It's business.
Right. So, you know, that's one of the questions that I have for you. Then I know you're super, super busy, and you're one of the, you know, whenever I talk to you, you're like, you schedule. Do you find it hard to stay connected with people, or is that something you have to plan for?
It's something, I don't have it set in my calendar, but it's something that's on that mental to-do list constantly. So even though I am juggling multiple projects, I am very busy. I'm very busy right now still, thank goodness. But I think part of that is because I'm really good at following up and staying connected with people. And that's just something, even though I'm really busy and I may be juggling multiple projects and multiple tight deadlines, I do make it a point to reach out to a couple of people every week, either to follow up on an old project that never came through, or just an old connection that I haven't connected with in a while. Or just check in on a client that's been quiet for a while and say, hey, I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope everything's well. Let me know if I can help you out with anything, or if I find something interesting to send them or something relevant about a project that we worked on, I'll do something like that. And then I don't do any in-person networking anymore, just because I don't have time to, you know, take a huge chunk of my day to go out, drive somewhere. And obviously now nobody's driving anywhere to meet anybody in person. But before that, I just didn't have the time for that. So I was just doing all of my networking online via Zoom. But I am constantly doing networking. I haven't never stopped.
Mm. So it's a great way for you to stay connected too. There was a group that you belonged to that was focused on like the digital media or marketing.
Oh yes, there was a group that was doing weekly meetings for, that was trying to be somewhat of a virtual agency kind of thing, and bringing creatives together to form somewhat of a virtual agency. Unfortunately, that did not work out. I just, for some reason, that particular group didn't work out. So I do have some connections that I work with on projects together.
That's great. You know, and there's a lot to be said. A lot, again, that all came from networking, and networks and groups evolve. And I think
Yes.
there's a lot of opportunity to be flexible. And sometimes people move away from a group, and or they come back, and you know, there's you're connected to them for a reason. So
Yeah.
I don't think anything like that happens by chance. I think it was all designed that there's certain people that we're supposed to stay connected with, and others we stay connected with for a short period of time, and others, you know, kind of go away, and sometimes they come back and sometimes they don't. But you know, it's just, it's like life, you know. But there is value. You do a lot of connecting, which is amazing, because I think that you purpose to reach out to people and stay connected, and having a system for that is obviously working for you. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a busy lady.
Yes,
and to that extent, I do want to respect your time. One quick last question: is there a special project you're working on these days? Anything that you have that you are excited to share, or are you just kind of plugging away? As I think you and Mara were working on something.
Yes.
Weren't you?
Yeah.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, so let me just add that all the projects I work on for my clients are special. And I'm not just saying that, they really are, because I really connect with my clients and I really like to know them and understand their business, and help them, but not just to get a website done and move on to the next thing. I really build partnerships with my clients. I have clients that I've been working with them for over 10 years now. So that is the ultimate goal, that when I bring on a new client, that I'm going to be with them for years to come, right? And helping.
Absolutely. You're mine like forever.
Thank you. And that's awesome. And that's awesome. But that's the ultimate goal, right? And that's what really makes the work fulfilling. It's not just turning out design after design after design. It's doing quality work and helping clients reach their goals and helping them grow with their businesses and evolve, right? And helping them, their design evolve with that growth and that evolution of their business. So that's my ultimate goal. So every project is special in its own way, because I try to keep that relationship and that project and that business going in that direction, right? So that we can work together. And if we don't work together again, and that was the one-shot project, that's fine too. But the ultimate goal is to really help the client reach their goals and build a lasting relationship with them.
You do a really good job of that. You do.
Thank you.
Because it's like,
Thank you.
I feel like you're part of the family at this point.
Yeah,
You kind of get me. You get how my brain works.
Yeah, but that's how I am, and I worked in corporate, and I loved working in the one business and knowing that business and knowing all of the brands in depth, so that I kind of carried that over into my business. I want to build lasting relationships with my clients, understand their business, understand their goals, understand their products, so that I can continue to help them, right? I think that's the best way to do marketing, is having somebody understand that in depth. But yeah, so special projects. My husband is a developer and he does development work for me, but we just launched another business together, where we've just launched the Best Farrier app, which is a scheduling and invoicing app for farriers. And for whoever doesn't know what a farrier is farriers are blacksmiths, and they shoe horses.
Yeah. Yeah. And I met Morrow when we had our horse Penny. Yeah. I met Morrow before I met you.
Yes, that's true. I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Yeah. He used to come to some of the barns that we were familiar with. So
yeah. And so that goes. Yeah, and so that goes because he understands that business and how those professionals work. And there was a little lapse in invoicing and scheduling apps out there. The ones that are out there just weren't fulfilling all of his business needs. So he decided to develop that app.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the fact that you're working with your husband. I work next door to my husband. My husband's in the office next door, literally.
Right.
And it's by choice. We both work from home, which is great.
Yeah.
And it is a blessing. So I love the fact that you're working with Mara and you guys are developing. Elmer and I have ideas all the time, so we've got stuff we're working on.
I imagine, right? If you're working in the same environment, we've been working together for over a decade, developing websites together. And so, when he decided to launch, I'm going to say the development of the app is all his, right? I don't do any development. So he's developed this app, coded it from scratch. But I'm doing all the marketing and all of that, some operational stuff in the business. And it's a whole different dynamic than
great teamwork, right?
It is. And it's really fulfilling. It's had its challenges running, 3 businesses at the same time, but it's been great doing this.
That's awesome. That's awesome that you guys have something together. I love spending time with you. I could spend more time with you, but I'm sure you've got lots of stuff to get to, including some work on my website.
Yes.
I'm not going to say go to work, but
Oh, don't you worry. Nobody has to tell me to go to work.
I appreciate all that you do. The fact that you absolutely love on your clients and that you are one of those advocates for understanding how important networking is to your business. So thank you so much
Yeah.
for sharing today. Really
Yes,
appreciate
well,
it.
thank you
Again,
for the
with me,
opportunity.
Lydia Grossov, Espresso Designs, right?
Design.
Design. Oh, I always put an S on the end. I don't know why. Right, Espresso Design. And you will be able to get her information at the end of this video. I'll make sure that all of her links are there so you can reach out to her and learn more about her work, even if you have questions about the Farrier app. So remember to subscribe to 30 Second Success Connect for more videos and share us with your friends.